Hello. Firstly, and most importantly, I hope that you and your family are well. Now, as you know, I like reading, and at the moment I'm trying to read for about 20 minutes before I go to bed. With all of us spending so much time looking at screens, I think it's really helpful to try and look at something else before I go to sleep. And because I'm reading a work of fiction, there's a sense of escapism that takes me somewhere else. It helps clear my mind, and I find that having read, I tend to get a better night's sleep than if I don't read. Now, the book I'm reading at the moment is part of a series of novels set in the 1650s. So it's historical fiction. And like most historical fiction, the main characters are made up, but the peripheral characters are real, adding that sense of authenticity. Now, because it's set in the 1650s, the main real character is Oliver Cromwell. Although he doesn't appear very often in the novels, his personality dominates them because, after all, he was the most powerful figure at the time. There are three other characters who are real who appear in the novel that I'm just reading. The first one is a guy called John Milton. And John Milton is a very famous English poet. He went blind during the 1660s, but before he did so, he produced what is considered one of the epic poems in the English language. It's called Paradise Lost. For those of you that know Latin or Greek, think of Virgil's Aeneid or Homer's Odyssey, and you get the picture. The second literary figure in this novel is a guy called Andrew Marvell. Now, I guess he's probably less well known than John Milton, but he's a metaphysical poet, and the both of them together worked for Oliver Cromwell's protectorate. The third figure is perhaps better known, and you may have heard of him. He's called Samuel Pepys. Now, I don't know a huge amount about Samuel Pepys, other than the fact that he wrote a diary. I do know he lived in turbulent times, not only the English Civil War, not only the Protectorate under Cromwell, but also the Restoration, the Plague, and of course the Great Fire of London. And when I was at school, I was taught that he did something pretty strange during the Great Fire of London. As he was escaping from his house, he took time to take a big lump of cheese and bury it in his back garden. That sounds remarkably strange. But when you consider that that block of cheese was actually Parmesan and that it was highly valuable at the time, his actions make more sense. He took time to care for something that he thought was valuable, to bury it, and then to come back later to hope it had survived. Now, that sense of burying things got me thinking about something that we were going to do this year as part of our 400th anniversary commemoration, and that's a time capsule. We were going to bury some items in a time capsule so that people in the future could open the capsule and see what life was like in 2020. So that got me thinking, what three things might I put in the time capsule? Well, I thought the first one for me, and because I like books, would be a book. So I would put in it Reverend Luff's History of the School. It traces our history from 1620 through to the late 20th century, and so it speaks to our long continuing past. I think the second thing I would have put in a time capsule would be a school photograph. Do you remember back in October when we all got together on that scaffolding and we had our photograph taken? I thought it was a great day, all of us together, showing us that we're part of one big community. And so I think it's important to put that photograph in the time capsule so it shows that sense of community, something that's so important for all of us. And then the third thing. Well, I think the third thing is obvious. We need to put the badge in, don't we? Because that speaks to our 400th anniversary and commemorates it. So those are the three things that I'd have put in a time capsule. What three things would you put in? Perhaps it's something to talk about in form time or with your family. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Crescat Crosbeyer.